Bonjour everybody, welcome back to Jamie and Julia. I'm Jamie. This right here is a smoking gun. It is the murder weapon. If you know, you know. Blend the yolks and the cream in the mixing bowl. I had to rip off the other page because it was pretty nasty, but there is still some remaining of poor old Scott. Anywho.
Bon appetit.
Today I'm digging into the hors d'oeuvres part of this book. Potato cheese sticks. Mashed potatoes give these little cheese mouthfuls a nice tender quality. Hors d'oeuvres, right? What does it mean? I looked this up beforehand. It means outside of work, and the work being the main course meal, so it's a snack outside or before that main course meal. Let's get to work. So this is half a pound of baking potatoes, 2 medium potatoes, or I guess this is considered a large potato, but this is a pound. And she says for half a pound, that'd be 60 pieces. 60! So I'm gonna half the recipe, so I'm only gonna need a 1/4 pound of baking potato, and that's gonna equal 30 pieces. 30 pieces I can manage. I'm kind of finding it hard to believe that only a 1/4 of this potato is all I need. So on the safe side, I'm just gonna use this whole damn thing. If there's extra mashed potatoes along the way, then that's not such a bad thing. Let's get some water in a saucepan. Get the heat on that. Salted boiling water is what I need. So I need to 1/4 this up. Boil these in the salted water until they're tender. And now is a perfect moment in time for a little mise en place. I should figure out what I need. Since I am halving this recipe, I need to half an egg. Because it was a smaller egg, I think I'm just gonna take a 1/4 of it out. Let's whisk it while it's in this very miniature thing. While I'm waiting for those potatoes to soften, why don't we just go over all the ingredients I'm gonna be using for today's purposes. This is 2 ounces, 57 grams of sifted flour. Same weight, but with softened butter. I don't need Parmesan. This is also the same weight, but with Swiss cheese, and I'm gonna grate this when the time comes. It's my 3/4 of an egg, remember that? And then just a hodgepodge of various spices. I got nutmeg, white pepper, and cayenne pepper. I am not affiliated with any of these companies. Okay, so now that the potatoes have almost softened, I'm ready to almost bring them over. I'm not too bothered with the flour on the cutting board like that, are you? It doesn't really bother me. I'm gonna need a bowl. Thank you. Strain the potatoes. Oh yeah! Questioned many times why I went ahead and purchased this masher, but for times like this, nothing beats it. Usually just sits in the drawer and kind of like you can't open the drawer because of how big it is, but when you need to mash potatoes, like forget about it. Okay, she says I need roughly 6 ounces, but remember, divide that by 2. Okay, so with this very small amount of potatoes, I need to add in my flour, beat it in as best as I can, I guess. So a little butter at a time. I have to beat it in. Use the wooden spoon, that's better. Oven's been preheated, that's fantastic. In goes the egg. Grate in the Swiss cheese. 1/16 teaspoon of white pepper, just a pinch of the cayenne pepper, booyah, and pinch of nutmeg. I'm also gonna add in some salt. Gotta butter up a baking dish lightly. I'm just gonna honestly use a baking mat, but I'm gonna stick with that for now. The next part's got me confused because I need what she describes as a fluted pastry nozzle, and I don't know which one that is. Just beyond my comprehension. There is such a thing as too many of these things. There, I'm gonna use that one. That should be fluted, right? It's got ridges. Into my forcing bag. Call it a pastry bag myself. Piping bag, whatever you want to call it. So this pastry nozzle needs to be a 1/4 inch in diameter, and these things need to be 2.5 inches long. Separate 1/2 inch apart. These are tiny little things. All right, you've convinced me just to use the baking mat. Some of them I piped too thin or too tiny, so I just kind of one-upped them with like a second line on top. And we'll see how it goes. I'm really unsure what the finished product's supposed to look like. I kind of looked online to give me an idea, and it didn't really inspire much confidence. So I'm trying to go with my interpretation of the recipe. This is what I'm reading on the page. So I'm gonna get these into the oven. It's 425 degrees Fahrenheit until they have turned a light brown. She's saying around 15 minutes, but she's using an older oven, and I'm finding my oven to be hotter than the one in her cookbook. So maybe between 10 and 15 minutes. So I'm gonna put this one on top, this one on the bottom, and then halfway through I'm gonna like switch it like that. Okay, this is the baking sheet that didn't use a baking mat. It just had the butter here. And because of it, these burnt. And you're wondering, well, maybe you had them in the oven for too long. I only had them in for 12 minutes, not the recommended 15. So yeah, isn't that interesting? Luckily, I have these. This is why you make 60 of these, or divide it by 2 and make 30, because now 30 has turned into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Thinking like a ramekin. I'm gonna shove them in here like, yeah, like that. What do you think? Order up! There's no problem at all eating all 15 of these. When I was initially looking at them, I was like, is that all I'm doing today? Is that what I got? And after taking a bite, or several bites, or all of them, all gone, I can confirm that they're it's like a baked French fry, or like a potato chip, or like in between, but classier. That's what I'm thinking. But with cheese. I'm trying to think, like, when would I ever make those again? Because I really, really enjoyed them quite a bit. And they're a cinch to make, and they took no time at all. But it's like, would I make them like all by my lonesome again? I don't think so. But if I was having some sort of shindig, like people coming over, or like I was going out there and it's like, well, you need to bring something, like a bag of chips or something. No, bring the potato cheese sticks. You're not gonna be the star of the party by any means, but people will notice. They'll notice the potato cheese sticks. Cheesy potato sticks, whatever the hell they're called. Potato cheese sticks. People will notice. So new on my Patreon this week, actually just before filming this, I was filming a little behind the scenes video. So I'm gonna release that on Patreon along with last week's Q&A video, Patron Ask Q&A video. There's a few of them actually. That's all on Patreon. It's linked right here or in the description.